Hello, welcome to Inside Humphreys County. I'm Darrell Mosley. I'm the Executive Director of the Humphreys County Chamber of Commerce. Last week we showed you the first part of an interview with Mr. Ward Phillips, who is the publisher of the News Democrat here in Waverly. Today we show you the second half of this interview. If you missed the first half, you can see it on our archives page right here on our website, HumphreysCountyChamberofCommerce.com. At the end of this week, this one will also go to the archive page and you can watch the interview in its entirety. But it was fairly lengthy. I didn't want to edit anything. I wanted to make sure that you could see it all. So here it is, the second half of my interview with Mr. Ward Phillips on Inside Humphreys County.
Of course, the News Democrat is also online. We have our website. We've got online subscribers, and that base is growing and has grown since the day we put it on there. You can view the News Democrat in full living color. Our pages are pristine and sharp, unlike sometimes the printed page. You know, the printed newsprint is a very porous substance. We don't get the best clarity in the world. We're not a magazine. We're a newspaper. But our online pages are pristine and clear and can be blown up or reduced or adjusted for whatever eyesight there might be.
Right. Well, see, but you're doing exactly the same thing that we have to here. Is you have two generations. There is a generation that totally depended on the newspaper, and a generation coming behind it that has other options, and you're feeding both of those
Sure.
those needs with the same.
Well, we have to, we're like anybody else. We have to grow with the times. I wrote a column called "The Death of a Darkroom." What used to be the heartbeat of our production, our darkroom, where we had to shoot photographs and process those one at a time, each one with different adjustments, and they had to go through 3 different stages of production, and it'd take a half a day to produce those photographs, all in an amber light lit room, and you had to fumble around and let your eyes adjust and literally work in that dark room. That area in our building now is a closet, and the cameras are gone. All the chemicals are gone. The smell of the chemicals is gone. The plumbing is useless. That part, the world has changed radically in that area, in our business in particular. So now, everything is on computer, everything's digital. It's just the way it is. And that's the way it's seen by a part of our viewers. But there's still that market out there that wants to put that newspaper in their hand, rear back with a cup of coffee, fold that thing into a quarter and work the crossword puzzle.
Right.
Or shop the classified ads and see who's doing what and where the yard sales are.
Right.
We've still got that. The Shopper's Guide, which is our sister publication that I mentioned a minute ago, in fact, is the single most effective advertising medium available to anybody in Humphreys County, whether that be an individual trying to sell a used lawnmower or a mom and pop restaurant trying to attract people into there. We can take your advertising message, put it inside the home, not in a driveway, but inside the home on the kitchen table with the rest of the mail.
Right.
Once a week to every home in this county. There's not another advertising medium that can do that.
That's right.
Facebook can't do that.
That's right.
The internet can't do that.
Right.
We can do that, and it's the strongest advertising medium in the county. It's a free publication. It's 100% advertising. We offer both products for that reason. And we also offer combination rates for the advertisers to partake of both that Shopper's Guide and this News Democrat, which also enjoys a readership outside this county, which is important to some advertisers.
So there are subscribers to the Shopper that are not.
No, the Shopper is 100% Humphreys County.
So strictly local.
It's strictly local, but it is a true total market coverage product.
Gotcha.
It goes to every home in this county, whether they subscribe to the News Democrat or not. It's delivered by the mail, and then there's a secondary circulation through our racks, countertops, this type of thing. So it's a very strong publication. One of the strongest community shoppers that I know of anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
It's well accepted, well grounded, well accepted.
With the changing of technology and the way everything has changed, everybody's business, including the newspaper business, do you enjoy it as much now as you used to?
Oh, I enjoy it immensely.
Yeah.
It gets in your blood. The old saying, if you get ink in your blood, you'll never get it out.
Right.
Well,
it got in there?
It got in there. It got in there for me back in the early 70s, and it's always been there. I enjoy, excuse me, I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out and seeing the people. I enjoy independently owned businesses where I can walk in and actually see the owners. Not only see the owners, but I see the owners working in those businesses.
Right.
That's a pretty cool thing for me. I see those people working hard, and my objective is to turn my products into something that's going to work hard for them.
Right.
So that we're all in this economy together. Mm-hmm. Everybody has got to help everybody get through this.
Yeah.
We're a part of that. We are an extension of that mom and pop sales arm.
Right.
You know, we are a voice for them.
Yeah.
And it's not only the businesses, it's social clubs, quilting activities, the merchants that get together and want to do something. Mm-hmm. We're a part of that, and I think a very viable part of it.
Oh, there's no question there. No question about that.
But I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun getting to meet people, watch some of these businesses go from one generation to the other.
Right.
That's a neat thing. Or see the young folks that come up with their own ideas and they want to go into business, and I want to help them do that.
Right.
The gentleman I just spoke to you about before I came here, the politician, he's spreading his advertising message. He's using us to do that for him.
Well, that's great.
And we'll present that message to every voter out there.
Right, right. Well, like I know for last week, the Mighty Gate down here showed the old Waverly movies, and here's video footage, from the 40s and 50s, and of course it's the first time I'd seen those, and I realized how significant it was to actually have something like that of our area. Your newspaper is in essence the same thing. It's providing this never broken chain of historical record from this week on back.
On back, yeah. And those were great movies, and I thank the Flexer family for presenting those again. As a matter of fact, the Old News Democrat, barely in there, but it was in there.
Right.
It was located just right up the street from here, as a matter of fact, right on the corner. There's an empty lot there now, but unlike you, I grew up in this on this court square.
Right.
As a young child, running in and out of some of those same businesses.
Right.
Now that was before my time, the movies you were seeing.
Mine, yes.
but not that far.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of it was still there, and it's just good to see. It's back in those days, obviously downtown was a lively place to be.
Oh, there's no question.
And I'd like to see that come back. I think you would. And I know I hear that from a lot of people, they'd like to see that come back. Well, maybe it will, and maybe it won't. But,
yeah, well, that's the thing that I have learned is that, there's, with the changing of technology, moving at such a rapid pace, it's hard to anticipate anymore what may be coming next. But something could come along and totally revitalize your communities.
Oh, yeah. It could happen, and until that happens, we enjoy the, if you want to call it a slow pace, it's a slow paced life. There's not as much stress, not as much hurry. The pace is different. It just is a great way to live, in my opinion.
It is.
I hear that from people that move in here from different parts of the country, and when I meet folks like that, usually the first question I'll ask them is, why did they pick this particular area to relocate? If they don't have family ties here or some sort of a history that brings them here, what is it they find attractive enough to pick up and actually invest in a home here and or business here? And most of them will tell you it's a combination of things. The low taxes for one, the low cost of living, and the ease in which life just is. It's just a slower paced, more relaxed atmosphere.
Oh, it is.
And they enjoy it. I mean, that's why they come here.
Well, places like this are fewer.
For the rivers and the creeks and the great outdoors and all that kind of stuff. they get away from the city and they see trees.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and well, like I said, I just appreciate being a part of the community and growing up here. Like I said, knowing that it's nice to see the chain continue of businesses. Things like the Mighty Gate that's been here for so many years. That was my first job. My daughter works there now. That was her first job, and I'm sure the Democrats been the same way. You probably had generations picking it up.
We did. We actually shared that. The Mighty Gate was my first official job.
Really?
I went to work there when I was 14 years old, and I'll tell you something that's kind of interesting about that. If you want to see how life will sort of carry itself, I worked for the Mighty Gate from 1968 until I graduated from high school in 1972 as a projectionist for that theater. And I think the world of the entire Flexer family, and Mr. Flexer and Mrs. Flexer, they took me in. They'd come pick me up from my home and drive me to work and drive me back home. I wasn't old enough to drive at that time. But I had that field of experience. And when I went to college, when I went to Murfreesboro, to Middle Tennessee State University, I needed a part-time job. And so there was a Martin Twin Theater in the shopping center down there. And there was also a drive-in theater, the Marlboro Drive-In Theater, which is no longer there. I went to see the manager of that establishment, and I told him that I'd like to apply for a part-time projectionist job. He looked at me and more or less said, "You're a college kid. You're only going to be here for period of time. It would take me 2 years to train you to do that, and it's not worth the investment of my time." To which I replied, "Well, that's fine if you feel that way, but I do have experience. I've worked for the Mighty Gate Theater for 4 years as a projectionist." That man looked at me and said, "You worked for Nathan Flexer for 4 years as a projectionist?" I said, "Yes, sir." The man didn't even ask me anything else. He opened the desk drawer, picked up a set of keys, tossed them across that desk, and said, "Right over there's tonight's movie. And you can start tonight." And that's
Mr. Flexer's name was your resume.
That's right. Nathan Flexer's name was that powerful. To Mr. Tomlinson was his name in Murfreesboro, and he threw me those keys, and I worked for him at the Marlboro Drive-In, running movies. The rest of my time at Murfreesboro.
How about that?
And that was a great part-time job there too, which I'd have never got without the influence of Mr. Flexer.
Yeah, that's
so you just don't ever know how things are going to affect other parts of your life.
Oh, that's so true.
And carry on, and that's a pretty neat story.
That is a neat story. Because I just missed you because I was about 14 when I got hired. This was probably been 1978 or so. And they used to pick me up and take me home too because I wasn't old enough to drive. That's just who they were.
I'd like to see a list of the an employment list from those days.
Yes.
I just think it's neat, Daryl. I know so many people that were there, and you mentioned my daughter worked there as well.
Right.
She's 26 years old, and she worked there in high school. I don't know if all my brothers did, but both my oldest sister worked there. Both of my brothers worked there.
Yeah. They've employed people for a long time.
Oh, sure.
Well, we could probably do an archival search through the News Democrat and chase down all this information.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Ms. Phillips, thank you so much for being here today. This is, we could sit here and talk all day. I can tell.
It's just kind of fun to sit and reminisce.
It is. But like I said, the great thing is that the information that has been gathered over the years continues to be gathered. Maybe the process is a little different now, but the mission for the Democrats is still the same.
The mission is for the Democrats the same, and we're trying to, a newspaper is like any other type of business. It has peaks and valleys, and it's on top of the world for periods of time, and then it kind of dives down and goes down. We're in the process of lifting that back up, and we look forward to continuing to do that and present the people of Humphreys County with the history of Humphreys County 1 week at a time. That's
a week at a time.
What we're trying to do.
I love that. Well, thank you again for being here. This was fun. Like I said, we'll do this some more and tell more stories. This would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Mr. Ward Phillips with the News Democrat
Thank you very much.
In Waverly, a long history here, and he was our guest today on Inside Humphreys County. We'll see you next week.